Hello. Although it may not look like it, we're off on an expedition in search of the king of fish, the salmon. Possibly the most persecuted fish in the world. In spite of all the nasty things we've done to it, it still survives. And every year we spend millions and millions of pounds trying to catch it. What is the magic of the salmon? Why is it the pinnacle of man's hunting prowess? Over the next few weeks, we'll be travelling from Ireland to the Norwegian fjords, from the Cairngorms to Alaska, as we attempt to find out. Our journey begins here at St Pancras. This was the gateway to the great sporting estates of the north, when the railways opened up the British Isles in the early Victorian times. Only the whale-heel could afford to invade the Scottish grouse moors and salmon rivers, which the lads tended to keep to themselves for so many years. Herbert Norton's in his 86th year, but he vividly recalls treading this platform as a boy with his grandfather, a wealthy stockbroker who took the whole family away for 3 months at a time. Destination, the Scottish Highlands.
We used to hire a small special train which came round to Upminster Station in Essex. 2 coaches pulled by a little tank engine. And it came round the north of London to Upminster Station. And we all embarked, the whole family, that is, my father, my mother, my uncle, my aunt, her children, mine, the dogs, the maids from Harwood, everybody into the train, round the north of London, on the North London Loop, and attached to the back of the night sleeper to Scotland.
To be able to afford to take 3 months off in Scotland?
He, my grandfather, had made a great deal of money in the Australian mining boom around 1900.
There are still people, Herbert, who, strange enough today, I know a couple of people who work in the city who have estates in Scotland and who actually do take time off to go to Scotland, but not for 3 months.
Well,
and there are still that sort of wealth knocking about of people who can still manage to do those sort of things.
There is, I know.
But nowhere near the number of people in your day.
No, a good many people used to do it, but not to the extent that my grandfather did with a special train round. I think he was rather before his time a bit with that.
Queen Victoria made this train journey to the Highlands as often as she could. She fell in love with the scenery around her beloved Balmoral, which she first caught sight of in 1842. Our longest-serving monarch was given to walking. The Prince Consort liked shooting. Both of them loved the mountains, especially Loch Nagar, which towers nearly 4,000 feet above the Dee Valley. Neither of them went salmon fishing. It was barely considered a sport in those days. Salmon were caught to feed farm workers and factory apprentices. When they tired of a never-ending diet of salmon, laws were introduced to limit the number of times it could be served to them. And the surplus was used to fatten pigs. What a waste. Behind me, Balmoral, Queen's residence in Scotland. Below me, the River Tay, the Royal Dee. Beautiful salmon river. Very romantic spot. One could really understand why people would fall in love up here. In fact, I've fallen in love with the place myself. Absolutely wonderful. I wish I could fish here. Maybe I'll get to do it someday. Obviously, Charlie, when everybody knows that Queen Mother likes to fish, what about Prince Charles? I mean, he's been fishing since he was a boy, I believe.
Oh, he's an excellent fisher. Fly fishing only. He wouldn't put a spinner in his hand.
Wouldn't he?
And no way. No way, he's an excellent fly fisher. And first class. But there's no way he'll put a spinner in his hand.
I believe he tried to get Princess Di to...
Oh, yes, she started fishing, and she would have got a bit of practice, she would have come all right.
But she lost interest?
Well, I wouldn't say she's lost interest, but she hasn't been fishing this last year or two.
Charlie Wright has been gillying for the royal family for 35 years. He knows a lot more than he's allowed to tell. He retired once, but couldn't resist going back to work. Loves the river, does Charlie.
Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, knows the river as well as I do. And she knows when to go fishing. And
I mean, a good gilly like you would say to the Queen Mother, I think we should go here. And she would say, no, we'll
well,
go there.
she would, if I was to take her there, she would know exactly if I was going wrong.
You were telling us the story before about the colonel who was fishing
Oh,
and the
yes.
Queen Mother came down.
Oh, that was down in one of the pools down beside the castle. She always walks up there in the morning. And I had an old gentleman fishing by his side. He hooked a fish. So instead of him wading out onto the bank, I would go in and net the fish. But prior to that, the Queen Mother came up the other bank and there was a seat and she sat in the seat. So I netted this fish for him. We went to walk the bank and the Queen Mother shouted, "Well done," and I just said, "Thank you, ma'am." And he said, "Who's that, Sandy?" I said, "Oh, it's the Queen Mother." And he sprung to attention.
Old colonel. Fancy being able to tell your mates you fish at Balmoral. The Queen runs 3 salmon beats as a going concern, but how on earth do you get a rod here? Mark Hudson, who's a businessman from North Wales, is one of the lucky ones.
I think there's no doubt about that. I mean, when we first came, in the mid-70s, late 70s, we were catching, well, up to 16 fish a week, and that was our best week. But certainly we'd hope to catch between 8 and a dozen. The last 3 or 4 times we've caught perhaps only 1, 2 or 3 fish. So there's been a decline as far as I'm concerned in the week we've been coming.
Surprisingly, Balmoral is no more expensive than prime beats on any other major river. £2,000 for the first week in April. Trouble is, there's a 10-year waiting list to get on it. We were extremely fortunate to set foot on the hallowed ground, let alone film here. A river that goes to Timeshare, where they say they've caught 100 fish in the year. You know, it would be £5,000 a fish the cost would be based on. It's gone up as high as that, which sometimes that makes it ludicrous, really.
Well, I mean, you've got to ask yourself why that is, and I think the reason for that is that obviously fishing is now seen very much as a sport that people want to get involved in, and the more people want to get involved, the more the price will go up. It doesn't reflect, as you rightly say, it doesn't reflect the fact that fishing is necessarily better. It's not. If anything, it's worse. And I think it reflects the fact that more and more people can get around. There's more money to spend, to a certain extent. People can have more leisure time, and fishing like this is now within the pockets of many more people than perhaps it was 20 or 30 years ago. And I think that's why there's a big demand for it. But whether people will go on paying £5,000 a fish, to quote your figure, ad infinitum, I don't know. I doubt it. I think that people eventually will say to themselves, well, this is too expensive. You know, I like the holiday, I love the place, I like the people. But if I want to catch fish, this is becoming too expensive.
At the other end of the scale, the fishermen who need salmon to live say they're suffering as well. Drift net fishing has been banned everywhere in the world except for Japan, the west coast of Ireland, and here off Northumberland. And even here its days could be numbered. There are 121 licenses granted between Sunderland and Berwick, where 1,000 tonnes of salmon each year are taken in the dreaded monofilament nets. Scottish fisheries complain that the fall in salmon stocks is down to the netsmen intercepting fish bound for the Dee, the Tweed, the Tay and the Spey.
Good salmon.
Truth. And 1 big salmon. Lovely big salmon. I would have liked him on the end of a big rod.
There's been fish coming back, you see, that's
The Scots would complain that a lot of the fish that you're taking out of here that are tagged from Scotland, that have been tagged in Scottish rivers.
Why, man will never get near when he tags it. You never see one when he tags. I'm not the honest truth, I'm telling you. I might be getting one in about 25 years I've been getting.
In case you didn't quite catch his drift, he's only caught 1 tagged fish in 25 years, he says. It's a difficult one, this. I can see both points of view.
Drift netting has been established as a very selective form of fishing. When they drift net for herring or mackerel, they get the best quality herring, they get the best quality mackerel.
Yeah, because
why is it wrong to drift net for salmon? when it's all right to do it for herring and mackerel. Fish is fish, after all.
Well, yeah, but in a way, you see, salmon are a bit special because
Salmon's
begin
just
in,
an emotive subject.
No, salmon begin in rivers and end in rivers.
And the landed gentry are in the rivers.
No. It's not necessary. Don't blame the landed gentry. There are still
Well,
millions and millions of people.
It seems the might of money that always has a swiper. We're just a little underdog and they always kick us.
Oh no, I've got a few quid and I fish a bit. But I've also got 10 or 20 pals of mine who fish, who save up to go and do a bit of salmon fishing.
Yes, but
who like to think when they get to a river there's something in it.
But they've
and they
obviously
find
got
there's
the
nothing.
time and the money to be able to afford to do that. I cannot
No,
afford
they
to
haven't.
go rod fishing. I haven't got the...
They save up to do it.
Well, I can neither afford to save up nor take the time to do it.
This exclusivity and expensive aspect of fishing, salmon fishing, is exaggerated. It only happens in a few areas. It's like Rolls Royces and Fords. A few people can afford Rolls Royces, but the majority of people are quite happy with a Ford. And the average salmon angler, of which there are tens of thousands, spends a reasonable amount of money on his sport. And the other thing you have to bear in mind is the contribution which the fishing makes to the whole economy of Scotland.
Of course, I mean, the hotels, the people who work on the river, the people who look after the river, it's a big industry really, a river like the Tweed.
It's enormous. I mean, there have been several surveys recently, and the estimated benefit to the economy of Scotland as a whole is about £50 million a year, and 5,000 jobs are dependent on it.
One of my regular haunts is Stubble on the River Tay. It costs me a lot of money to fish for a week in September, a lot of money. But I don't mind paying for it. And the guy I fish with who leases a beat has a few quid as well. But he used to drive up here from Wolverhampton on a Friday night when he was a lad, sleep in the car to save money, fish on a Saturday and then drive all the way home on a Sunday. This is the largest river system in Britain. It drains 2,000 square miles of western and central Scotland, and it's nothing to take a 25-pound salmon here. My first take of the morning didn't quite measure up to that.
Good man, well done.
I wanted to be a good player, but I'll tell you what, I had to work hard at my game. Our kid, it came naturally to him. Me, it was hard work. Maximise your assets.
Absolutely. And anybody who doesn't undersells himself in like the George Bests of this world.
Nice little fish. Lovely silver, bar of silver, this one. Nice. Here he is, look, he's ready to come.
Beautiful fish.
Lovely silver fish. Two lovely fish. Not the biggest Tay salmon in the world, but they do run a lot larger than this. But these are actually the sort of fish I like to catch. You can barbecue that one, and that one will steak up. Lovely. We've had a good morning considering the gilly said we wouldn't get any.
No, I didn't say you'd get any.
You said we
wouldn't get very many.
Typical Scotsman. Many beats on the Tay have gone to Timeshare. Lord Mansfield offered 30 weeks of 25-year leasehold syndication for a total of nearly £7 million. Timeshare has got its good points and its bad points.
There's one or two things about it, Jack, that I don't like. It affords privilege to a few people. And I don't like that because you've got a situation with many rivers throughout Scotland where people who have fished the river for years and years and donkey's years can no longer do it because the timeshares have taken it for life. See, I mean, if people want to go and buy a picture or fill the cellar full of vintage port or whatever they want to do, that's fine because it doesn't hurt anybody. It gives somebody else a living, the auctioneers make a living out of it, the wine people make a living out of it. That's no problem. I mean, you've actually got 4 or 5 years ago, before the big crash, you'd got people out of the city coming along and buying stretches of river, young lads of 26, 27 years old, who didn't know anything about fishing at all, they just thought it was a good investment. And a lot of your landowners exactly the same sort of thing. They found a way of cashing in, and I think it's totally wrong.
We invited Lord Mansfield to meet us at Scone Palace and defend allegations that riparian landowners were being greedy. But he decided not to comment. However, to be fair to the family, they did start the Stormont Angling Club near Perth in 1980, so that the ordinary man got his chance to fish for salmon.
I mean, these beats further up the river, likes of Watermill Ferry and fish ponds and that, you used to be able to get on there, albeit sometimes after 6 o'clock at night, once the tenants were off the water, but even that is gone now, the timeshare, and they'll keep the water for the next day sort of thing. So it's gone forever as far as we're concerned.
Lord Mansfield gives you this bit to fish, but he's sold large stretches of the river at the timeshare. I mean, how do you justify that?
Well, I think that's a sign of the times, and who knows, it may be financial or whatever.
Well, certainly financial.
Yes, but you know how farming is nowadays. It's on declining, the profits to be made through farming, and I think the state has to look to whatever way it can to survive, as it were.
I pay a lot more money for me fishing than these guys would ever dream of. I mean, £75 for them is probably a lot of money. To me, it's virtually nothing. And I pay, what, 20, 30 times that amount to fish some of the places I fish. And it's no better than what they're doing. Look at them working away.
It's nice that you've been able to go and have a cast. Pity you couldn't have just got a salmon, but you never know. There's always a hope, isn't there?
What about, we asked you about people coming here to stay. You get a lot of people from London, a lot of yuppies?
Not particularly yuppies. People in high-profile jobs, pressurised business, doctors, lawyers, successful businessmen. The people you think would have least patience, and yet they'll come and fish for a week or a fortnight.
Is there any chance that you might split it up into a timeshare and then do a run out to Barbados or somewhere and lie in the sun?
No, that is not our scene. We are anti-timeshare fishing-wise. And that will be seen to when we are finished with the hotel. Hopefully, I've got 2 sons. It one or two, either or no, take over. But that will be specified. That will be no timeshare, Banksy Lodge water, as long as we're around and they're around.
This is the unacceptable face of salmon fishing, poaching. The River Tay Watch missed the culprits this time, but confiscated the tools of their trade, and pretty grisly they were as well. On the Wye near Hereford, George Woodward and his fellow gillies went one better last summer.
After many, many hours of a good number of years now at it, we were just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. And sat there together, we'd split our little team up, radio contact with one another, and bare night sights working, and we sat there, General Hopkinson's gilly and myself on one bank of the river, looked upstream, doing the night sight, put it down, a couple of hushed words, picked the night sight up, couldn't believe what I was seeing. I said, Paul, here, grab this, quick look at this, and there's a dinghy coming across the river, laying a net. We got in radio contact with the other members of our team on the other bank. Watched them lay 4 nets across the river. Moved in closer. Lynn's team coming in from one way, me from the other. Watched them bring the dinghy off the river. Rushed in. Bit of a chase. Found one of them hiding in some undergrowth. More or less confessed everything. We then got informed the NRA bailiff and the local police who came. Chappie cooperated quite well, showed us where they'd put the nets in the river. Rather upset as he'd lost a bit of money. Got the dinghy in the river, used that to get the nets out. And the 3 nets that were set across the river, there was 15 salmon in, the biggest 36 pound, the smallest 10.
Well, the National Rivers Authority have kindly got the salmon that was taken out of the freezer and brought it along so we could have a look at it. Can we get it out, Paul?
Yeah, sure.
Just have a look at this. This is the magnificent cock salmon. 36.5 pounds, taken by a poacher. Paul, what happens to the fish now?
Well, we'll keep it in the freezer until the case comes to court, and then it'll be part of the evidence of our case.
On a butcher slab, what, 100 quid's worth of salmon here?
Oh, could well be, because obviously a fish of this size is not that common,
Well,
and therefore the normal price per pound doesn't really apply.
No. But a shame. Lovely fish.
Yes.
What a shame.
You're not out to buy a big house on a hill somewhere. You are literally fishing for a bit of pocket money.
Have you been done?
Yeah, 3.
You've been caught 3 times?
3 times, yeah.
What did you get?
Let off once because there was no evidence. £100 the second time, and 2 years ago, £1,000.
You got a £1,000 fine. Could you pay it? Did you pay it?
I have paid it.
Or are you still paying it?
No, I've paid it.
Out of what you went back into the river to get?
Yeah.
So they fine you £1,000 and you go and fish a little bit harder and catch a few more fish to pay off the...
Yeah, you've got to.
It's a never-ending circle.
Exactly.
That one's about 12, 14 pounds. Oh, what a corker. Yeah, lovely, isn't it? You give a special prize for the lad that catches this one. Oh, look at that. A few big salmon farmed in Scotland and just what you need to pep up a trout lake. Ringstead Grange in Northamptonshire was one of the first in England to try the idea. The purists hate it, but the locals love it.
I simply couldn't afford to take a rod on a river with any chance of taking a fish, even one in a season. Here I've got access to large, powerful fish that I can fish for with very light tackle and have tremendous sport at a price that is within the realms of possibility for myself.
What is the price to fish Ringstead?
£10 for a day, and that's to a 6-fish limit.
And that gives you an opportunity of taking a salmon.
That gives me an opportunity of taking up to 6 salmon.
Yeah, there's very few places you can go salmon fishing.
I can't think of anywhere I could fish for salmon for that sort of money.
As you probably noticed, we brought Herbert Norton along to see how the other half lives. Bit of a change from private trains and castles in Scotland. And that fishing legend Fred Taylor's cooking us a low-budget campfire lunch in his own style. The fish is wrapped up in layers and layers of wet newspaper.
I had to wait all this time for you guys. And I should think, with a bit of luck...
It'll be perfect.
Be perfect.
Perfect.
Done to a T.
Perfect. Oh, look at that. That's exactly as it should be. Just pushes away from the bone. Look at that. That's beautiful. There you go. Who wants it?
I get the first taste.
Well, I'll have that little bit.
You want a fork, Herbert?
I'm quite happy with my fingers.
All right. Jack. How do the poor live, Jack? Eh? Now you've been on the Dee and the Tay and the Spey, and you didn't get better salmon than that.
That's lovely.
How do the poor live? Budget salmon.
Have you got any of that sauce that goes with it? Did you look at it?